What's up guys, and welcome back to another EVE Online video. Today I'm bringing you episode 3 in my Rebuilding a Wormhole Corporation series. The intention with this episode, I believe, is to pick up basically on a timeline. We now will start from the date at which I released episode 1. So episode 1 and 2 brought us up to date from when we got evicted to the start of the series, and this one we're starting from the time of release of episode 1, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does, but we'll see. And so, I mean, what a whirlwind couple of weeks it's been. Absolutely hectic, which has been amazing. Great fun. It has meant that I've played very little EVE Online over the last couple of weeks. And myself and a couple of the other leaders have done a lot more of the kind of meta gaming. So playing Discord rather than playing EVE, but that's also been great. So a lot of that has been recruitment and meeting new players, potential allies, veterans that we've been friends with for a long time, veterans that maybe were part of the eviction, which I might have mentioned last week, and things like that. So it's been amazing. I do want to say thank you to everyone that has engaged with videos in the series so far, whether that's been comments on YouTube, reaching out to me in game, on Discord, wherever. It's been great. Really excited by all the engagement. Really enjoyed chatting to a lot of you, so please keep it coming if you're excited by the series. Yeah, but really enjoying it. And so with that said, what have we been doing for the last couple of weeks? Well, I mentioned in my last video that having a YouTube channel and using it correctly can be a bit of a cheat code when it comes to recruitment, and that has manifested itself since I released episode 1. So again, really exciting for us, but we've had a crazy time in terms of recruitment. We ran the numbers today, and we've onboarded 61 characters, I think it was, which are a lot of applicants. I think we've had over 40 applicants since that video was released, and so for that, to be able to handle that, because we honestly wasn't expecting this kind of response. I thought maybe we'd get 5 or 10 people interested over the duration of the series. But no, we got big numbers from the beginning. So we had the first couple apply, and we chatted to them and got things moving. But then we saw that the influx was getting a bit out of control, and our existing system of recruitment was not fit for purpose. So we needed to create, test, and introduce a new recruitment admin system very quickly. We're using tickets now on Discord, connected to our Alliance Auth, which is working really well. But we needed to get that out quickly and push it through. So that's one of the tasks that we started off with. Yeah, we then of course have been using that system, spent so much time connecting with all the recruits, chatting to them, making sure that we're going to be a good space for them. That's one of the things that's really important for us when we do recruitment. Obviously it's important that a player is going to be a good fit for us, and of course we want to do what we can to do security checks and things. Although, you know, if a spy is any good at their job, they'll get through any security checks we have. So it is what it is. But one of the big things we want to make sure is that we are the right place for the applicant. So we go through what they're trying to get out of the game, what they're looking for from a corporation, what kind of players they want to fly with. It's those kind of conversations and what form the bulk of it to make sure that we're going to provide a good place for them, because it's so important. You know, we want players to enjoy their time in EVE. That's how players stay. That's how players stick around. And so what we don't want is for someone to join up, be bored for a few weeks and think EVE is a bit rubbish, and then kind of lose interest. That's not good for anyone. So we want to make sure that we are the right fit for them, more than they're the right fit for us, to be honest, because we're going to have a good time and we can just kick them if they're if they're not the right fit for us. But it's much harder for an individual to leave if they don't realize kind of that it's not the right place for them, if that makes sense. So that forms a big part of the recruitment process, and that has been a huge part of the last couple of weeks. We've been with the big help of actually, I mean, I eased off after a little bit. We've got a couple of our directors, and of course Babies, who I mentioned in the last video, have been working really hard in the recruitment piece. But one of the things we are going to have to do moving forward, I think, is to delegate that out a little bit more. But I'll come to that in a little bit. This video might be a bit hectic because I'm trying to remember a lot of what has happened and tie it into general themes. But chronologically, it's probably not going to make sense, but we'll see. And so whilst we've been having this big onboarding session, getting everyone in, recruited and through the system and in, because that's been such a large time sink for most of us in leadership positions, we've really needed to rely on our experienced player base, so our FC, Val, and a few others, which I'll come back to in a second as well, to really welcome people in and make sure they feel comfortable, help them get settled and engage them in content, which we've just been blown away by how people have picked that up and responded. We've got our existing players who have done a fantastic job of doing that, but we also got really lucky with some of our first recruits. They were or are very experienced Eve players. There were a few well experienced, good wormholers coming in from Nullsec, coming in from other parts of JSpace, properly experienced large corporation players who wanted to help come and build something, which is fantastic. And they've entered and just hit the ground running, and it's been amazing to see. And this goes back to what I mentioned in a previous episode about not having to be in a position of leadership to generate content, not even having to have any kind of roles to generate content. These guys have come in, they are taking out PvP fleets, they're undocking boosters and running huffing fleets, they're putting out pings for mining fleets, they're running PvE fleets, and they've just done this from day one, which has been absolutely fantastic, and they're on it constantly. This actually, when I'm recording this, I don't know if it's probably blurred, but we've got 25 in our chat at the moment, and this is the lowest number it's been all week at our main playtime, the lowest by far. Last night we had 45, I think, on. So it's just been amazing that these guys have come in and really engaged everyone, which has given us as leaders the freedom to carry on recruiting, to run Diplo, and respond to the outreach that has come as a result of the series. Because without that, I really think that some of the players already would have joined up, got a bit bored, and left again. So it's been absolutely fantastic. Also exciting for us, as we've had a few disaster area veterans rejoin, kind of from the glory days of disaster area. We've had one of our FCs come back. One of our players who was possibly a bit junior at the time, he's been down in Nullsec for the last 18 months, growing, experiencing things, and has come back in and just picked up as a leader. And it's been, it's just been amazing, really. And so that does lead me to actually one of the things as a leadership position, one of the things we've been looking for, of course, while this has been happening, is we are really paying attention to who is doing what, who is picking things up and running these kind of stuff and doing it autonomously. And we've been watching the kind of the natural leaders come to the fore. And because as we grow, we're going to need more and more people in a hierarchy to support the running of the corporation. And so that's something we're constantly on the lookout for. There are, of course, names that naturally move themselves into those positions, and we can kind of watch that happen. and facilitate it and help support it, give room for that kind of growth and development, which is also really exciting to watch. I can't take any credit for it. I say, like, we give room for it, but I can't take any credit. But I still feel kind of like warm and fuzzy watching it happen, right, without wanting to get all sentimental about it. But yes, so that has resulted in some really cool things happening from our perspective. So I'm running content over what I'm saying. These are some stuff I've recorded from the last couple of weeks. And really early on, one of the things RFC noted and picked up was that we, of course, need to practice our PvP. We need to practice our fleet movement. We need to learn how to defend structures and all that kind of stuff. And this, I think I might have mentioned it in the last video. This was one of our corporation goals for anchoring the Fortizar, was to generate PvP experience, to be able to genuinely believe that we could defend it if we anchor it. And so how do you get PvP, how do you get structure defense experience? That's a pretty reasonable question. And so our FC Val had rolled into a neighboring system, and so basically we witnessed an eviction happening. The defender's structure had been reinforced. There was an Athanor that I think had just been anchored, and you could see, you can see the dynamics of eviction as they're happening over the course of a couple of days. And so Val approached us and said, "Hey, I've got this idea. I want to reach out and ask if we can help defend these guys that are being evicted. What do you think?" Of course, we said, "Yes, please do. What a great idea!" And for multiple reasons. Right? There's obviously it's fantastic practice, and you get to try out different comps at relatively low risk. I'll say relatively because if you upset the attackers enough, then they might come get you. And you get the opportunity to make friends in the process. And one of the things we really want to achieve, this is a kind of a long-term goal for DISA, is generating a reputation across JSpace. And that is going to be that we, if people know they can rely on us to come to their aid, if people know that we're going to take a fight, which with something we've been working on as well, that kind of reputation we want to precede us in JSpace. People know Hard Knocks, they know Laserhawks, they know Forsaken Few, they know these names in JSpace. What would like to happen eventually is people see Disaster Area in local, or they pop into the hole, and they know that these guys are going to come and take a fight, or these guys we can call on them if we're in a spot bother. That'd be fantastic. That's our goal. And so with that, we went to go and support this eviction fleet. Support the eviction defense. And it was an interesting scenario that the timing worked out. It meant that the defensive fleet had just staged a raid on the offensive structure and had successfully reinforced it. And the timer for the offensive structure was a few hours before the timer for the defensive structure, which is pretty good. And so Disaster Area jumped in a bunch of Blackbirds, and we were going to ECM. We were going to take on the role of ECM because we knew we had intel from the defenders that they were going to be in Leshak and Nestor's, that kind of fleet comp. So for the offensive Astrahus timer, we jumped in and saw. Obviously, Val is coordinating all of this with their group, and they were using a dread to take out the offensive Astrahus. They were obviously under attack by a bunch of Leshaks and Nestors and things. And the joy of ECM against those fleets is you can break the remote rep cycles, and you can also break the spooling of the Triglavian weapon systems. So it's real pain if you can jam Leshaks. Their DPS plummets, and obviously their remote rep turns off. So it's doubly useful. And so through that process, obviously we're not going to take all the credit for it. We didn't turn up with that many ships. I wasn't able to be there, for example, but it was all about practice. But essentially, as we managed to, the defenders managed to destroy the structure, which was great. And with our support, they managed to get the Dread out and safe. Which was also fantastic. It was just a complete success, and brilliant training and practice for our FC, and of course the few guys that joined him. And then we generated a friend. They were super grateful, and it's a relationship now that we're going to maintain throughout. So we're constantly on the lookout for opportunities like that, and the other part of it is always being willing to take fights that I just mentioned. That's something we've not been great at, partly because our PvP skill has been poor. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Our PvP skill has been poor as a group. And so the willingness to take fights that you're pretty sure you're going to lose is tough, right? But as a result of this latest recruitment, we've ended up with several quite highly skilled PvP players who are capable of very quickly teaching the rest of us how to do things and impart wisdom. So I think genuinely, since I'll shout him out because he's the couple of them have done a great job. Since LeMonk rejoined and Good Vibes, they joined at a very similar time. I genuinely don't think there's been a fight we've not taken. Like if there's been an opportunity to fight someone, we've taken it every single time, which hopefully that continues. 100% record of taking fights is what we want to achieve. And what that has meant, and it doesn't matter. We're not trying to blob people. We don't want to what am I looking for? Overcommit's not the right word. We don't want to just blob and just destroy any kind of fight, which has happened accidentally a couple of times because people are keen to join in, of course. But as an example, we were rage rolling for content a few nights ago. We were in a few Cyclone fleet issues and a couple of other ships, and we were rage rolling for content and rolled into a couple guys that weren't in very much, but they sent a buzzard in, and they were obviously watching our fleet, and just said in chat, like, if you give us 5, we'll form up and we'll come see you, which is great. Love that kind of stuff. But I would say they overformed because they knew exactly what our fleet comp was. We didn't reship because there's not much point when someone's just watching you. They'll just reship again. So they picked like the perfect fleet comp to counter it, and then overformed as well to more or less guarantee their success. But we still took the fight. We still stuck around, and actually we went surprisingly well. They came in with several nightmares to take on. So these are faction battleships to take on Navy battle cruisers. And I think we took out 3 flycatchers, all to only lose 1 battle cruiser. Took the fight, took a few of them on, and then managed to de-aggress and disappear. So that was really cool to experience. Actually, we weren't just going to run away. We did what we could to bloody their nose and got out in a way that minimized our losses, which was really cool. I could not personally imagine doing that previously, but we've got the confidence and we've got the guys to kind of run this kind of stuff now. And that just leads me then, because we're talking about PvP fleets and content, the other thing that's been super exciting for us at the moment is we've now got the player numbers and the and the interest diversity to be really capitalizing on the content that is available to us in JSpace now, which has been so cool to see. So every evening we've had simultaneous what have we had? There's been obviously gas huffing fleets running at the same time as boosted mining fleets, which has been had. There's been a PvP wormhole camp fleet, which also is doubling up as the kind of the resource harvesting protection lot as well. They'll respond quickly if anything happens, while there's been a nullsec roam happening, and that's kind of been standard. That's been what's been happening over the last week, I'd say, which is just it's just really, really cool now, because all of it drives content. So the harvesters, whilst they're generating ISK and pulling in resources, they also serve as kind of bait for the PvPers, who can then take any content that comes in to try and take out the harvesters, whilst rage rolling. So that's something else that's actually, it's quite nice about living in a C4, is we've got our 2 statics, so we can rage roll one of them for PvP content while out harvesting in the other, for example, or running PvE in the other. So at the moment, people are doing a very good job of managing the chains and managing the content to make sure that there's kind of something for everyone at any given moment, which is, yeah, I mean, it's just really cool. That being said, one of the next things we really need to focus on is making sure the momentum doesn't fall away. So we are we're not closing recruitment, but I would say we definitely need to slow down or pause, so that, for a couple of reasons. One, so that leadership has the time and agency to re-engage properly, show up to more fleets and be present for a little while, so that we can continue to build the momentum and that kind of stuff. But the other big reason is we also want to make sure, because we've grown very quickly, we've at least trebled. What would it be? We've probably about quadrupled in size in the 2 weeks. We want to make sure we can maintain our the disaster area environment and ethos, and that is of course a challenge when you grow rapidly. So what I'm really keen to do now is to kind of slow things down on the recruitment front, make sure we've got the time now to really get through there, get the messaging across, and make sure everyone's on the same page about how we do things, how we approach Eve, how we communicate with one another. So far we've had very, very few problems, which is obviously great, but can't rely on that being the case, and we need to get there and spend time and get our messaging across. That's something we really need to prioritize, and that will be happening next. But at the same time, we can use the opportunity to explain the goals. Because as I said earlier on in this video, people have joined and there's been content for them. It's been amazing, like, let's get out doing PvE, let's do PvP, let's go do this. But the why is missing. Like, I know obviously I expressed our medium-term goals in a YouTube video, but we've not taken the opportunity yet to explain and bring up the goals and the timelines and stuff to the players who have joined in the last couple of weeks. So again, the momentum, there's a risk the momentum will slow down if we don't get out there and explain the why and give people that real purpose and community feel. It's something we've started working on already, and I'll go into detail on more of that in the next episode, because a lot of it is focused around industry, which we're just in the last couple of days starting to get the ball rolling on. And I'll cover that in the next episode because I'm already running quite long. but yes, that is kind of vital as to what we're going to do next, is to make sure we really build out the community feel. The comms and the number of people in fleet comms is phenomenal. We've always got, so far every night we've had crazy numbers of people for us on voice comms. It's always respectful so far, which is really nice as well. And they're engaging, like everyone is engaging with one another, which is buying us time. But I definitely view it as that. It's buying us time. For some people, this will be enough just to be having a really good time with each other on comms. For others, we know from experience that it's not enough, and they need a purpose, and they need a genuine corporation direction and goal. And we've got to make sure we are addressing that. Yeah. One of the other things that has just kind of blown my mind a little bit, and obviously I mentioned something similar about babies last week, but the number of people that obviously how we talk about the corporation in my videos resonates with people, but the number of people that join up and are so keen to give their all, give all of their gaming capacity into just supporting and helping build something, or supporting and helping other people grow, is honestly, it's just a bit mind-blowing. It's been really eye-opening and nice to see, and obviously it gives us a great footing to get started. That the people that have come, most of the people that have come from watching these videos, are individuals that have a genuine belief and goal to just work together, just to support and build and grow, and the individual mentality of make ISK just isn't there at the moment, which, like, obviously that's fantastic, but I also want to manage it carefully. Like, what I don't want to happen at the end of this is just like everyone has just donated everything and somehow the leadership is sat on like a huge pile, because that's also not our ethos. That's not what we want to do. So there's a way, we need to figure out how to manage it, but as a starting position, it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I mean, the big thing, of course, is we can maybe we could find ways to support our PvPers more and more, because if they're doing all the work because actually, I mean, even the PvPers, I don't want to say even the PvPers in that, like, you know, these guys aren't generous, because they actually probably are more generous than anyone. But even our PvP loot that they're getting, they're all just dropping in a donation hanger for like corporation stuff. None of them are keeping any of the PvP loot, so I have no clue how those guys are making any ISK. They spend the whole time doing PvP. The loot goes into a corporation hangar entirely voluntarily, and they occasionally lose ships. Like, I don't understand how they're making ISK, and so maybe we can find a way to help support them through the generosity of our other players, some of our industrialists and our PvE guys that are also just donating and being super generous. So yeah, got to figure that out, got to manage it carefully, but what a fantastic problem to have, right? Anyway, I'm now just rambling about how content I am, which probably will get boring quite quickly. So I'm going to wrap up. Next episode we'll obviously cover what we do next, but probably with a strong emphasis on industry and where we go from there. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed the video, again, please, if you haven't, please consider subscribing, like the video, or whatever this new hype system is. That seems quite cool. I have no idea what it is or how it works, other than apparently there's like a leaderboard that you can end up on if you get enough hype. But anyway, yeah, and thanks very much for watching, guys. Thank you for engaging with the series, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.